On building resilience to climate change. My name is Tom Chase, and I'm a senior project manager with New Ecology. This is the second of 5 videos funded by the Connecticut Institute for Resilience and Climate Adaptation through a grant to the City of Stamford and the Stamford 2030 District for the Stamford Resilience Assessment Pilot Project. A big thanks to our partners, the City of Stamford and the Stamford 2030 District, for making this work possible. The second video we're covering in this series is on mapping climate change hazards. New Ecology is a community-based sustainable development organization with a mission to bring sustainable development benefits to underserved populations at the community level. More and more, New Ecology has recognized that in addition to mitigating the emissions that cause climate change, we also need to prepare and adapt for the impacts of climate change that are already starting to occur. In the last video, we covered assessing hazards at the building level. In this video, I want to look at mapping as conducted by communities, governments, and institutions of those hazards and how to understand where our buildings might be impacted and by what. Starting at the national level, one of the best places to look is the National Climate Assessment. The 4th National Climate Assessment was just published at the end of 2018 and covers, in terms of regions as well as nationally, the major hazards we can expect to experience as a result of changing climate. Zooming in, there are some excellent tools available from federal agencies to look at where hazards and which particular hazards might impact sites. This is a screenshot of CPD maps from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is a publicly available map database that shows overlays of flooding hazards as well as federally funded housing properties. Zooming in a little bit to the state level, many states are starting to conduct their own climate change hazard mapping assessments. This example is from the state of Massachusetts, which has mapped heat island risk, precipitation flooding, coastal storm surge, and other climate-related hazards at the county level and more locally when data has been available. The state of Connecticut, through the Connecticut Institute for Resilience and Climate Adaptation, has also produced maps related to coastal storm surge flooding along the vulnerable coastline of the state. Individual groups and independent entities are also conducting climate change risk assessments and facilitating those assessments at the more local and city level. Organizations such as 100 Resilient Cities, funded by the Rockefeller Foundation. Some of those cities have conducted really in-depth climate change vulnerability map assessments, such as Washington, D.C. The city of Cambridge, Mass. Digging in a little bit to the city of Cambridge's climate change vulnerability assessment, here are some overlays showing current and future expected impacts from precipitation flooding, from sea level rise and storm surge, and some of the heat impacts we expect to see over time as more and more days over 100 degrees and over 90 degrees become routine and increase throughout our summers. Here are some of those places I mentioned. And these are the places that make our work the most straightforward because we have city, state, and national partners that are looking to map the impacts of climate change so that we can understand at our local level what we need to plan for. And then we can work to help building owners, city governments, and others plan for those hazards. This is just a short list and some of the an introduction to some of the resources that others, building owners and municipal leaders and others can look at to begin to understand which hazards may impact them. Thanks for watching. Once again, my name is Tom Chase, and I'm a Senior Project Manager for New Ecology. Feel free to reach out with questions or comments to chase@newecology.org, And again, a big thanks to our partners, the City of Stamford and the Stamford 2030 District, and to the grant-making agency, the Connecticut Institute for Resilience and Climate Adaptation.